Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, today we some more Call of Duty WWII. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at some bugs and problems that have been plaguing the Call of Duty WWII multiplayer. Since the game came out in November, I'd say Sledgehammer Games has done a pretty good job of being open and transparent with the community when it comes to upcoming events, patches, and weapon balancing changes. The trouble, however, is they haven't been nearly as transparent about bug fixes and issues with the game, oftentimes not even acknowledging that the problems exist in the first place. I'm sort of guilty of this myself. I kind of perpetuate that to an extent, right? Because here on my channel, we're always talking about weapon balance changes and what we wanted to see done with the game. We're talking about future events and DLC weapons, but we oftentimes overlook the little tiny things, these little tiny issues that on their own may not seem like that big of a deal, but if they go unchecked, they can add up and become very big issues that can plague the game's multiplayer. I think the same thing is happening over at Sledgehammer. They're so focused on their DLC events and their new maps that are coming out and the new weapons and weapon balancing changes and what the pro players are saying that they're forgetting about the little tiny things in their game that have been plaguing players since the game came out back in November. Over the course of the past few days, several issues have been brought to light by the community over on the Call of Duty WWII subreddit. If you guys want to check it out, I'll put a link to it down there in the description, and of course link all my sources, and I would like to share those issues with you guys here in today's video, while also discussing the other problems that the community has known about for a while now that for some reason have gone unfixed by Sledgehammer Games. Let's start things off here by talking about the SVT-40, which is considered to be one of the worst guns in the entire game by a lot of people. Well, now we have another reason for why this weapon isn't all that great. The default iron sights on the SVT are actually off center. You guys can see right there on the tip of the iron sight, that's where your bullet's supposed to go, and as you can see, the bullet actually goes higher than that. So if you're using the default SVT-40 variant, you're not using anything fancy on it whatsoever, no reticles or anything like that, and you aim for somebody's head, you're going to shoot over their head, you're going to miss entirely, which is really, really bad. This reminds me a lot, actually, of the FAL back in Modern Warfare 2. For some reason, the red dot sight on the FAL in Modern Warfare 2 was off-center. We have the same problem here with the SVT-40 iron sights here in Call of Duty WWII. Next up, we have the Gpmg light machine gun. There is a heroic variant for this weapon, and for some reason, when you equip the 4x sight on this gun, it is completely and hilariously broken. So as you guys can see here, the sight itself sticks out of the scope. You can see me running around here. It's essentially like a clear sticker in the middle of the scope itself. It's completely off center and just basically unusable while you're aiming down the sights, and it looks really funny when you're not aiming down the sights. Hopefully this gets fixed eventually, but I'm not really too sure how quickly it's going to happen because the reflex sight on the Gpmg, and this is something people have known about pretty much since the weapon came out, when you equip a new reticle to your reflex sight, the original reflex sight reticle stays there and overlaps. So you basically have two reticles at once with the Gpmg. These are both issues with that gun that I hope get fixed in the very near future. And next up, we have a much bigger one. Aim assist here in Call of Duty WWII does not work the way it should when you're around certain corners and edges on different areas of certain maps. So this is actually true of most Call of Duty games, but it's especially prevalent here in Call of Duty WWII, which is why a lot of your gunfights can sometimes feel inconsistent. I'll have a link to the original video exposing this down there in the description, along with exclusive Ace's follow-up video detailing it. But essentially, if you are around certain barrels or certain doorways or using certain lines of sight, you'll just have no aim assist really whatsoever, and it's really going to throw you off. So hopefully this is something Sledgehammer can actually fix, though I wonder if it's one of those issues that it's going to take far too much to actually be able to fix it. Like, they would have to completely redesign the aim assist within this game to actually fix the problem. We're going to have to see how it plays out, but aim assist does not work in Call of Duty WWII in certain situations, which is going to throw a lot of you guys off. So those are just the problems that have been popping up over the past couple of days that have really been brought to light. This doesn't even take into consideration the countless other problems that fans have had since launch that they've been asking Sledgehammer to actually address. These issues include friendly nameplates not appearing in hardcore at certain angles, which causes a lot of frustrating team kills, the quick draw attachment not working at all when the player is coming out of sprint out time itself, especially on submachine guns, feels far too long for a large percentage of the community, people spawning in super late into matches. This is a big problem. Whether it's search and destroy or respawn game modes, I've noticed that if you're playing on an older console, you'll load load in slower than the people who actually have a faster console. So for example, I play on the Xbox One X. My friend plays on a regular Xbox One. I oftentimes get into matches well before he does, and he gets in there like 30-40 seconds late and still has to spectate other players for a while before he's actually able to play. And keep in mind, those are only in respawn modes. Search and destroy, it doesn't matter what console you have, you can still spawn in late for no reason whatsoever. And if you have modes like Hardpoint, for example, there are times where one team will spawn in before the other team, they'll capture the hardpoint, and they'll basically have like a 50-point lead before the other team even starts playing. This is a big issue that needs to be addressed and fixed by Sledgehammer Games as fast as humanly possible. I would argue this should actually be their top priority when it comes to actually fixing the Call of Duty World War II multiplayer. We of course have a bunch of other issues as well. The announcers' voices are extremely blown out when calling out certain objectives on certain war maps. On USS Texas, fire of any kind, especially from a flamethrower, can sometimes cause players near that fire to tank in frame rate. The leaderboards, especially at the top of any given platform, are full of boosters and mod accounts. The headquarters still does not have air raid attacks. The list goes on and on. There are so many more that I'm not going to list here in this video because we don't have all day to list all these things, but you guys get the point. We have a lot of problems, and these are only the technical bugs with the game. This doesn't even take into consideration design issues like weapon balance, score streak tuning and cost, master prestige rewards for both multiplayer and zombies, and of course all the multiplayer maps themselves. Sledgehammer, I'm talking to you directly right now on the off chance that somebody at that studio actually happens to catch this video. The fans of your game would really like to see more transparency. The first step is to acknowledge that these issues exist in the first place, so we know you're actually aware of them. The second step is to keep us updated with your progress as you work through and fix each issue. Call of Duty games may be on a 3-year development cycle, but you guys know as well as I that a typical Call of Duty game only has a 1-year life cycle, right? And the thing about Call of Duty World War II is this may be a game where fans continue to play it for years and years to come, because who knows when we're going to see another game set in the World War II era, right? The last time we had one in the Call of Duty series was 9 years ago with World at War. I highly doubt Treyarch is going to come out with their own World War II themed game next year, and Infinity Ward hasn't released a World War II themed game since 2005. Like, this is what we have. This is what we get. A lot of fans came back to the series this year because they wanted a new World War II themed Call of Duty game, and a lot of them, myself included, are completely hooked on the game, but we need more transparency and more frequent bug fixes and patches if we're going to continue playing this game long term. I don't want to paint the wrong picture here. I feel like I've been super negative here in this video, and sometimes people mistake critique for negativity. I'm not here to complain for the sake of complaining. I'm just here to acknowledge these issues with the game. I love Call of Duty World War II. I really do. I've sunk a ridiculous amount of time here into this game. When I'm not directly playing it, I'm reading about it, I'm making videos on it, I'm writing scripts, I'm editing scenes together, I'm doing graphic work. I've spent a ridiculous amount of time with this game so far, and I truly do believe that this is one of the best Call of Duty titles to release in the 11 years that I've been playing the franchise. But the bugs and the technical problems are really starting to accumulate, and when you take all of them and throw them on top of the already questionable design decisions that Sledgehammer has implemented, you can see why there's a lot of negativity surrounding the game right now. I try to be a positive person here on my channel because I'm a positive person in real life, and I truly do enjoy the game, but at some point these issues have to be fixed, and a lot of them have been around since the game came out in November, which is inexcusable for a AAA game. We're talking about Sledgehammer, we're talking about Activision here. This game has sold over $1 billion already. It was the best-selling game of 2017 in like 24 hours or something like that. Like, you have the money, you have the manpower, you know the issues, you have to fix them at some point, Sledgehammer. Before we start talking about weapon balance changes or what's happening in the pro scene or upcoming resistance events or DLC weapons and all that stuff, let's focus on the little things. Let's make sure these things are actually smoothed out, because if you focus on the little things, the rest of the game is going to fall into place. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys here in this video. Again, I hope somebody at Sledgehammer caught this, because I want these issues to actually be resolved. I have a feeling they're aware of all these things, but they're not being transparent about it, right? We don't know that they know these issues exist. We don't know if they're actually working on these issues. We don't know if they're ever going to be fixed in the first place. We're pretty much left in the dark, and that's turning a lot of people off the game right now. So Sledgehammer, be more transparent, and I promise you the future of Call of Duty World War 2 will be much brighter than what it looks like right now, which to me, it already looks pretty good. I'm excited for the future of the game. I mean, just today, they released a trailer for the Darkest Shore, which is the new Zombies map, of course, coming out as part of the Resistance DLC. If you want to check out my video on that, I'll put a link to it down there in the description. And at the end of that video, there's a special bonus. So a former employee at Treyarch, today he released the full crystal clear version of the Pack-a-Punch song from the Treyarch Zombies mode, right? We've never actually heard the full song before. It's in that video. Go ahead and check it out. But going back to Sledgehammer here for a moment, again, be more transparent, and I think the game's going to be much better. You have to fix these issues before we can start talking about DLC and everything else. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys here in this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below. And I completely understand that the issues I outlined here in this video are not the only issues in this game's multiplayer. These are just the ones that came to mind for me. These are the issues that I have noticed over the course of these several months we've been playing this game. And down there in the comments, I would love to hear what other issues you guys have run into in both multiplayer and zombies, because of course zombies has a bunch of issues as well. They need to fix their game, and hopefully that is the first priority for them right now as compared to trying to push out supply drop weapons and items and DLC and stuff like that. But once again, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.